Welcome, folks. Here we are. Hello, Kimberly. Hello, fentanyl awareness of Alabama. Have I heard from you? Maybe there is someone in Alabama who has recently inquired about having a summit in Alabama. Stop slacking. Okay. Stop slacking. That's a new name. I don't recognize that name. Hello, Wendy. Thank you for being here. Good to see you again. Wendy is one of our event coordinators. She's in Jacksonville, Florida. I have not. All right. Well, welcome. Glad you're here. So, how many people we got here? We have a few. Tristan Shoemake. Hello, everyone. Glenn just left here. It was Don Brooks wanting to have a summit in Gulf Shores, Alabama. We can make it happen. Lisa, you know how it works. There goes the dogs. That's just how it works. My name is Otis. Been watching your videos for months now. First live. Well, thanks for joining us, Otis. I appreciate very much you being here and watching the series. There is a lot of them, and I think we've got close to 40 more that we shot last week in Florida and Mississippi. And we still have some from other locations as well to work our way through. And so we're doing our best. Editing is a slow process. So I have a couple of dogs night. Yeah. So I have a couple of questions about this most recent premiere. We have 3 dogs, but they're all small dogs, so it's really like 1.5 dogs. So now and then I would hear in Preston's story, now and then you'll hear background noise. We filter out a lot of it, but some gets through. We were shooting at a Harley-Davidson dealership. Wonderful place. Everybody was very, very helpful. The air conditioner wasn't working, but we got by just fine. And so I wonder, did many of you notice that background noise, the announcements? It seemed like they really waited till an interview was in progress for them to make announcements. And anyway, yes, Florida is a hot spot for fentanyl. It is a big problem there. Wendy says, I got to meet Mike Glenn on Sunday. I'm so blessed to be able to call him a friend. Thank you, Mike, for sharing Preston's story. Tracy, welcome, and thank you for being a sponsor. It means a lot. Wendy says, I didn't notice. It is filtered quite a bit, so that helps. So where are some of the usual suspects we see in the lives? It's been a while because we were on the road. We actually, Wendy, we actually passed through Jacksonville, but it was, I don't know, early in the morning. And I would have stopped for a visit or maybe met you for lunch or something if it would have been, at a more convenient time. It was a crazy story. Tracy, yeah, karma. That's the thing here. We will just throw questions out without much hesitation. Nobody holds back here, I don't think. Mike Land, it was a pleasure to meet everyone. I was so happy to see the Ice Bucket Challenge as well. Such a pleasure to see everyone. It looked like it was an awesome event. We had to leave early and miss it because we had to be in Wiggins, Mississippi. That's right. We interviewed April like a week ago. 8 days ago, maybe. So Tracy, help me remember. I met you on this last trip. There they go again. The dogs. So there must be something exciting going on, way over there. Who cares? So where were we, Tracy? Help me remember. Fentanyl awareness of Alabama. Tristan, sorry for your loss. I'm praying for you. So, Mike, since you're here, Mike is the storyteller from this most recent episode, Preston's story. And so, Mike, since you're here, maybe you could share a little bit about what the interview process was like. There's some people in the audience who hope to share their story at some point. You could share a little bit about what it was like. So could Wendy, and so could April. I think April's here. Maybe. I feel like I'm missing one. We have several storytellers in the audience right now. Karma says, I think AA is toxic. Yeah, there's a substantial amount of people that are in recovery who say similar things. And there's also a substantial amount of people who are in recovery who swear by AA. And so no solution is a one size fits all. I did an interview with a former White House drug czar who's done research on addiction for over 40 years, and and he thinks very, very highly of AA because it creates accountability. Tristan, fentanyl awareness, thank you so much. April invited me. Okay. I get it now. That was awesome. That was a great time. It was nice to be someplace with air conditioning too. So that was something. Whatever keeps people alive, many different paths for all. Absolutely. That AA is not for everyone, and people that swear by AA have also told me that you got to find the right kind of meeting. That meetings are going on all the time, a lot of times in churches, and I'm sure there's a meeting going on within 10 miles of me here in Houston right now. And And so people have told me, people who embrace AA have told me that you still have to find the right group, that some groups aren't such a good fit, but eventually you find the one that's a perfect fit. Wendy says, I highly recommend sharing your story. Glenn is so very kind and makes an emotional event much more comfortable. It is very therapeutic to share. I see that. I see some benefit from sharing that people experience, and when the interview is over, when they stand up, they seem a little bit lighter, and that's awesome to me. Mike says, of course, I will never give advice on how to get through this, but I can share what has helped me. Speaking about the loss, that is the best therapy for me. And I think that's true for a lot of our storytellers. I don't know, we've interviewed probably 400 people who've lost a loved one to fentanyl. And that seems consistent with pretty much all of them. But over that same period, a couple of 100,000 people have died from fentanyl. And so there's plenty of people out there who have other solutions for dealing with their grief. Welcome, Brooke. Meeting with Chris in Alabama. In Alabama? Karen, thank you for joining us. Glad to see you here. So this is our first live event in about a week. The last live event was in a hotel room in we did a live event in a hotel in Pensacola. Yeah, it was Pensacola. And that was our live event. I was on the road. We were going from location to location, and it's always a bit chaotic during those road trips. It's very, very thinking on your feet and figuring things out as you go, and always tons of technical kind of production work that has to happen in the hotel in every evening, because there's a whole bunch of new footage to sort out, transfer, and all of that. So never really much of an opportunity to do a live, or for that matter, get a story finished and ready to premiere. So there's typically there is a decline in the number of live events and the number of premieres when we're out of town. So, and we will be out of town next week, but we are going to try to have some stories in the can so that we can publish new material while we're on the road. So Mike Land says, if you've lost someone to fentanyl and you're hurting, please reach out to Glenn or any one of us who's lost someone. I can guarantee you will be here. We will be here for you and listen to you. That's true. That is 100% true. There is this incredible. Brad, it's your vision, Brad. It's your vision. It's because you're old. So, what Mike said about reaching out to people, that's such a powerful thing. One of the coolest things that happens in our storytelling summits doesn't happen in the interview. It happens in the room where people wait. In Wiggins, Mississippi, there was a small crowd of people waiting to do their interview or just hanging out after their interview, visiting with others. And in most cases, they just met. And they are interacting with each other, connecting with each other, bonding, crying, laughing, helping each other. It's a truly remarkable thing that happens during our summits. And the same thing happens with tons of organizations that are out there that are focused on fentanyl awareness. Most, if not all, of the members of most of those organizations are people who have lost someone to fentanyl. The creators of the organization have lost someone to fentanyl. So there is this incredible support network that's out there, and it just takes a little bit of effort to find them. You can email me and I can put you in contact with several, but there's tons out there. If you go on Facebook and search for fentanyl awareness or fentanyl, groups will start showing up. Yeah, saw the drug boat get. Where are you headed in the near future? For stories, the next trip I believe is going to be North Carolina, and I saw that Phoenix is on our calendar again, and I'm not sure what's going on there. So Lisa, that's you, right? Tristan, Lisa, right? She says it was an amazing experience in Wiggins, Mississippi. We felt like we knew each other already, even though we just met. Yes, Wiggins, Mississippi, that event was awesome. The hotel provided us with a meeting room for shooting the interviews, and all of the storytellers that were waiting could fill out their form and have snacks and all of that in the hotel lobby, kind of come and go. There was a lot of activity out there. All the time. Right, Lisa? Tristan, Lisa? It was kind of a hopping place out there. I feel like I missed a lot because I was back in the meeting room shooting individual interviews. North Carolina, okay, that's where I am. All right, Carrie, you can email us, and for any of you that are watching that hope to share your story, or maybe you have shared your story, we have a private Facebook group that's made up of people who want to share their story and people who have shared their story. So virtually all of the storytellers that are in the series are in this group. Not quite all. There's a few that aren't on Facebook, but most of them are. and Brad's finance. Do we have tumblers? We have coffee cups. We don't have tumblers on our store, but we have coffee cups just like this. Miraculous, say stories that matter on the back. I love that. Anyway, if I missed a question, Tracy, maybe. Okay, I understand. So I just finished setting up my first free fentanyl stand, meaning naloxone, and put up at a convenience store filled with Narcan, which is naloxone, and CPR kits. We went and checked on it today, and in 2 days already, 5 were taken. So happy. Brad wants to know if I put preparation on my face. Oh, Brad. You guys should come to Houston. You really should. Yes, where is Brenda? Naya, I see we missed a message from you. Don't hold back. Karen says, I have a relative who died of fentanyl overdose, but it is a story that should be told by family members who are closer to him than me. I will tell them. Thank you, Glenn. They don't have to be. There are some families out there. There are some families out there who don't want to acknowledge that fentanyl played a role in their loved one's death. There's some families who feel that way, and then there's some families who have a family member or two who want to feel that way. And that's their choice. When are you coming through Oklahoma City again? I don't know. We are probably booked for the end of the year, and we will be sticking to southern states for the beginning of next year until spring arrives. Mike Land says, get with Glenn. If you just want to talk to someone, he can hook you up. He can hook you with me. I can promise you, after you speak to another parent or family member, you have a great chance of knowing you're not alone. Families here in Memphis aren't aware of fentanyl. Yeah. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of families out there all over the country that are kind of in that position that they haven't heard enough about it yet. The news media tends to not give it the attention that it seems to me that it deserves, but You know, we're all doing what we can. So on our channel, we also have a couple of stories that are about processing grief. They're presented by a licensed professional counselor. Her name is Heather Lambert, and they are wonderful, short. You don't have wrinkles. Yeah, it's just the light. So, look, okay, what is this right here? That's some old man stuff going on right there for sure. All right, so enough of that. Anyway, just thought I would share to make Brad feel not so ahead of us all. Anyway, there's two stories on our channel. They're short. One is maybe 15 minutes, and the other one is under 10. And these stories are about these are this professional, licensed professional therapist, counselor, and she has some great insight on dealing with grief, and she doesn't share any breakthroughs or anything. A lot of what she says is things that are really common sense. But hearing someone tell you it's a way to make common sense be okay. So she's a wonderful speaker, wonderful person, and one of the stories is called Life After Loss, and the other one is called Grief Feels Like Crazy. And if you're in that world, you should give them a watch. Nia says, God bless you and the families who are brave enough to share their experience to educate others. Well, thank you. I feel very privileged to get to do this kind of work, to be able to meet so many really awesome people who are genuinely motivated in trying to help others be aware, to help them avoid the kind of loss that they're enduring. So I'm in a very blessed spot. And all of the content is funded by revenue that comes from YouTube. And so we don't have any grantors. We don't have any grants. We don't have any sponsors. We don't have any clients. Everything is funded by viewers, you guys. And so what that means is we only have to be accountable to the audience and the storyteller. And that means there is no agendas interfering with the content. And that's a pretty awesome place to be. What I was saying before, there are some family members who they're worried about the stigma, I suppose. I had a victim's father contact me and adamantly object at the story, which was told by interviews with 5 family members. And he said that's not how my son died. He was angry, and I was very nice to him. I'm nice to everybody. I offered to let him share the story the way he wanted to share it, if he would like. And he was, he kept going back. That's not how my son died. According to the other family members, he read the toxicology report out loud to them when he got it. And I had a copy of the toxicology report when he was talking to me. So it's a very awkward situation because obviously he's hurting very much. So we kind of sorted it out, I guess. Linda says, I live in a small town that refuses to think we have a drug problem. I'm sorry, I missed a couple. Ryan Starr, if local PD doesn't track the origin of fentanyl pill, then mega dealers aren't caught. Yeah, that's true. It's important to combat the source. But you know that's not a new strategy. It's always kind of been that way, that you catch a small time dealer and then the police get him to rat out on his source. And they go up the chain and up the chain. But it doesn't seem to make much difference. The real key is addressing the demand. Glenn, Kimberly says, Glenn, I'm going to have my therapist talk about how important mental health is on my event. Yeah, mental health is that's everything, really. And so it's such a vital thing. That's why we have those stories from the licensed professional counselor, is because that's a really critical thing to stay aware of, that mental health issues, things that get your brain distracted, in a funk, in a cloud, whatever, that affects everything else in your life. It just spreads into everything. A few good hotels in Houston. There's tons. You know, there's Galveston. Galveston is just like 30 minutes from where I live. That's an ocean and everything, Oklahoma man. So there's tons. And, you know, my wife, Brad, you know, my wife's a travel agent. We could sort something out. You could stay with us if you want. So anyway, uh, Brad, sounds like you are in Oklahoma. Come and see me at the DEA event on September 17th. Mike, where in Oklahoma is this DEA event? Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Choctaw? Kimberly, I wish I never had to self-medicate when I was in my teens and 20s. You're not there now. That's You have to keep looking forward. You're in a good place. You're doing things that make a difference. Linda Wood, I tried to get Narcan and raise awareness, and I was told to stop or I would be targeted by the police. And Linda, where is this? That sounds really interesting. Like small town, Missouri. What's the name of the town? I have been to Bourbon, Missouri and Union, Missouri. Met the mayor in Union. That was probably 15 years ago. Shelbyville. I don't know. I hear things like that, and my head immediately starts churning, and I'm thinking, well, maybe there's some sort of hidden camera thing we could do, something that calls out the. I don't know. That's just me. Look at there. Okay, so there's an event September 17th, 1301 South Pennsylvania Avenue, Oklahoma City. So there you go, Brad. You should go. You should go. You'd get a kick out of meeting Mike for sure. So you know the dealers, you know the drugs and the dealers. And so the the law enforcement, government officials, whatever, don't want that kind of exposure. Is that what's driving them? I get it. All right. Did I miss comments? Have I missed something? I probably have. I feel like I have. Uh, Brenda needs to know about this. Brad, Carla, if you're here, Bree, whoever else is in the group regularly, remember to let Brenda know about this Oklahoma City event whenever we see her again. They don't want to deal with the problem. So they're kind of pretending it isn't a problem. Brenda, you need to know about an event in Oklahoma City with our storyteller is going to be there, Mike Land, and he's the one who's really got all the juicy information about it all. My email address is info@texas-pictures.com. There it is. Well, glad you're here, Brenda. The episode is still there. In fact, we can have a look at where it's at. See how the views are doing. So far, Preston's story has had over 800 views. And now 804, 805. Just Tracy, Tracy says maybe if you could set up a stand with free Narcan inside like I did and just go check it every few days. I don't know what that noise was. Narcan inside like I did and just go check it every few days. That could work. Because then you don't actually see who's taking it. Karen says, thank you. Mike Land, I will hunt you down and get the scoop. Mike is in the event right now. Brenda, Mike's an easy guy to find on Facebook too. And yeah, I think Mike is part of our private Texas Picture Storyteller group. I think. If not, he should be. Linda says they won't allow it. I had a firefighter from another town trying to do it and help me, and the police told him to leave. Well, Linda, we could do some kind of story about that. That sounds like the kind of thing that merits some attention. Kimberly says, I told my manager that someone last month on our property smoking lace pot, and she thought I said, weeds grow in the yard. Well, that's interesting. Hello, Heather Durap. Yeah, that certainly works with Louisiana. I have 3 teenagers who live in Patterson, Louisiana. I watched every one of these documentaries on fentanyl. I have educated my kids, asked their school to bring in a guest speaker, but still nothing. There's a lot of organizations that do presentations in schools that are out there. Fentanyl Fathers is one of them. I'm a member of the board for Fentanyl Fathers. And their whole mission is to bring fentanyl awareness presentations to every high school and middle school in the country. And they've knocked off about 20 states, I believe. Right. Okay. So yeah, let's turn this political. What do you think about Trump's recent commentary? He said homeless people cannot be rehabilitated. I hadn't heard that comment. I don't think that the statement is accurate. I don't think necessarily that homeless people need rehabilitation. Homeless doesn't automatically mean that they are dealing with an addiction. But there are there are plenty of people out there who are leading full productive lives now, but at some point in their history they were homeless. I met a couple of them on this last trip to Florida and Mississippi. Brenda, keep up the amazing work. For sure, Brenda. Brenda says, yesterday I started thinking of using fentanyl and it's still going strong today. So I need people in recovery to tell me what's wrong with me. I won't pick up, but I am so pissed at me. Well, you've got this, Brenda. Mike is right there. Mike said, I've been on the streets of LA, Phoenix, and many other cities. Most people on the streets don't want help, but one will accept help. Don't give up. There are lots on the streets. I've done. Albuquerque has Central Avenue or Center Central, and it's like a smaller version of Kensington in Philadelphia. And the officers that I was riding with, they were saying there is opportunity for help, and people don't want it. They don't take it. Same in Anchorage. Even when it is really cold, there are people who they have to get to the right place in their head first. They don't want the help yet. Well, Brenda, it's probably because of your big day. It seems to me like having a 1-year anniversary just right around the corner. That has got to have you feeling excited about the anniversary, and that would lead you to think about how long it's been, and so that puts fentanyl in your thoughts. Maybe. I think some are in a delusion and don't realize their lifestyle is extremely bad. I found that a lot of the homeless people I've talked to have a plan in their head. Something like, once I get through whatever, I'm going to do this and this and this and this. So it's almost like a fantasy for success. But eventually, I believe people in that kind of situation see their path and move on it when they're ready. What did I miss? I know I missed stuff, folks. Let me get. I'm getting behind. Ryan says I think there's some. Yes. Praying for Renee. Kimberly, thank you for praying for me. I've told my husband, daughter, sister, and best friend, so they're all babysitting me. Thank God for you guys and them. Isn't that an awesome thing? It's such an important thing to have that support network, whatever it is, whether it's AA or some other kind of group or family or close friends or whatever. Having that network of support, having that group is really vital. Heather says, by the way, thank you from the depths of my heart for making me aware and educating me with your content. I never would have known about fentanyl if not for you. Thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you, Heather. That's I'm 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 glad it's reaching people. I'm grateful for it. There's other content on our channel too. There's the addiction recovery series, and there's a human trafficking series, a domestic violence series, and a series on cannabis-induced psychosis. And the cannabis-induced psychosis series, that's something that we learn about it as we go. And I've learned quite a bit lately about what the possible risks are. Mike says, Glenn, you're correct. New Mexico has other issues. You and I have dealt with. Trafficking goes hand in hand with fentanyl and the cartel kidnapping. Mike, I'm meant to tell you something about you. You'd asked me a question about talking with human trafficking survivors, and I think the biggest thing is for them to feel like you're really listening. That's really a huge thing for all of these stories. All of the people that I talk to are so elated to have someone listening intently, someone who cares about what they have to say. And we have our channel has enough subscribers to show that a lot of people care about what they have to say. So that's cool. And Preston's story has over 1,000 views now. I just left that sitting there until we got to 1,000. Where am I? Brenda says I was so happy because I didn't think I would ever make it. So I started counting down at 10 days, and then yesterday happened. So now I just want the 1 year to come and go as quickly as possible. I don't know. You can figure it out. There's got to be a way to put it in the right place to have, because it is a what a reminder that, you know, Brenda, you you got this. I think there's a lot of people in the group that are going to have a little party in their brains when you hit that 1 year mark. You have a lot of support here, and you have a lot of support around you. A lot of people who love you, and so you got this. You're at day 350 something, 57, 58, maybe. So there's been all of those days, and you just keep having those days. Kimberly says, I'm trying to get some HIV kits for people that are users on the street. Glenn, if you didn't have this documentary, I would not know about psychosis. Yeah, I didn't really know about psychosis until I started hearing from someone in an organization who thought a series would be good, and she was right. I've learned a lot since we started doing the cannabis induced psychosis series. And some of the stories aren't really psychosis. They're other things, hyperemesis disorder, where cannabis use leads a person to have this terrible stomach discomfort and vomit a lot. Uh, so there's other stories involved. I've had that with the weed. Stop slacking says only with dispensary weed and the hyperemesis syndrome. God said, son, I'm making sure you can't do drugs. Yeah. Hyperemesis is a pretty scary thing. And talk about that's your body telling you something, or God telling you something. I am so happy to see the survivors of that. Just want to also help the families that don't get the good ending. For sure. But there's a great thing about the stories with a good ending. Sometimes the good ending is some sort of effort that helps others. And sometimes the good ending is a survivor story. Mike is very much in the fight. He is on it like a rat on a Cheeto. Brenda says, Glenn, you're correct. I've been journaling my way through both days. So if it happens again, I can look back at my entries and compare. I just hope it doesn't happen. Day 363. See, holy cow. That's awesome. So that would be Friday is the 1 year mark. We will probably be doing a live on Friday. That'd be cool. And, assuming you're here, you. Oh, come on. I'm behind. Brenda, Proverbs 3:5. Good job, Mike. Fentanyl Awareness, Alabama. The word says, fear not, 365 times in the Bible. Well, that's cool. I've never heard that before. That's awesome. Fent, Alabama, thank you so much. Brenda says, Fent, Alabama, thank you so much. I had no idea fear not is in the Bible 365 times. I love you so much for sharing. I will spend the next 2 days looking up as many as I can. Ryan says, if you drink beer all day, every day, you're also going to start randomly throwing up. Yeah. Drinking beer every day. Yeah. So it is different though. There's physical differences because beer and alcohol is a water-based kind of thing. It gets through your system kind of quickly. Cannabis does not. Stop slacking. I was in hospital for 3 days. Like what? Weed? Weed isn't weed anymore. That's true. That is a thing. That it is different. It is genetically engineered. It is not, one of the big arguments that we hear often is, well, it's natural. But no, it isn't. Not really. It is genetically engineered to have a higher concentration of THC at the expense of CBDs. Brenda, God said to fear him only. And fear is really another word for respect, is what I have been told. You are loved, Brenda. God sees you. Stop slacking. Are you okay? Stop slacking. Are you okay? Kimberly's asking. Ryan Starr says rat on a Cheeto. You like that? I like rat on a Cheeto. Oprah on a baked ham. Biden on a flight of stairs. Okay. Brenda says, Mike, I am looking up your suggested verse in my new to me Catholic Bible. I am not Catholic, and this Bible is like 50 years old, but it is so interesting. Stop Slacking says, well, it's sad. I have survivor's guilt. So many gone, but not me. So it's my duty to do my best to help others. I'm okay. This happened in 2024. So I've told you guys this before, but it's a thing that I tell storytellers often after their interview. I point out to them that the last part of a person's life is oftentimes, and maybe every time, someone else's lesson. And that's no consolation, but it's important. Beautiful, even. And so stop slacking. You're a survivor, so you have those lessons from the ones you've lost to share with others. And in doing that, you honor them and probably save lives. Brenda, your life change begins in that Bible. Linda says, Brenda, hang in there. I lost one child to fentanyl, and my other child is 1 year clean, and my son is still battling addiction. Stop slacking. Thank you very much. I am so very, very grateful for that. That's, it means a lot. I don't have to put a star on it, but yeah, well, that's awesome. Kimberly says, Glenn, people don't know about alcohol being a drug. Yeah, there are people out there who deny that. Alcohol is an ingredient in some medicine like cough syrup, and so Fenton, Alabama, and Mike, I got my trust put back in its proper place. Thank goodness. I have known Jesus since I was 5 years old, and God since I was 15 years old. Fentanyl Awareness, Alabama. He will never leave you or forsake you, Brenda. You are his child. There you go. Stop slacking. Brenda says, stop slacking. I have survivor's guilt with each of the storytellers' videos. I wonder why God took a beautiful young person when I would have gone in their place. So now I try to channel for good. Yeah, that's awesome. Stop slacking says, I'm grateful for you and your mission. Never donated before. You taking the time to be so thorough with all the questions and just so authentic. The world needs this. Well, thanks. That's it, it's easier to be authentic. You know, there's less to worry about if you don't have to keep anything straight. You know. Brian Starr, I once told an EMT I don't do drugs, I only drink alcohol, but immediately realized the contradiction in my words. Yeah, but it is. There is definitely a different perspective on it. There's definitely a stigma to doing drugs that somehow alcohol gets a pass on. Fentanyl, Alabama. Brenda says, Fentanyl, Alabama. God carried me through 15 years of active addiction, even when I stopped talking to him. Mike says, that's what I call purpose. And Brenda says, Kimberly, awesome. I wished I lived in Memphis so I could help you. I make a mean brisket. Okay. Now I'm hungry. So we have been here a little over an hour, and I think it's probably going to be about time to wrap it up for tonight. There is there other questions out there? Anybody have any questions about Texas Pictures, the channel, fentanyl, cannabis, recovery, whatever? Pretty wide open. I know. I'm just checking. Brenda, you should take a trip to Memphis, and I don't know when. Kimberly, awesome. Brenda says, Brad, my brisket recipe takes about 20 hours if you want me to share it with you. Does it take 20 hours to share? Probably not. Fentanyl Awareness of Alabama, just here to help. Recovery. How can I contact you about my town? You can email me, or you can find me on Facebook and friend me on Facebook and send me a Facebook instant message. And if you friend me on Facebook, then I can add you to the private Texas Picture Storyteller group. And Brenda says, like right on cue, Brenda says, what you take for granted, someone else is praying for. God bless you all for supporting me tonight. We support each other. And that's such an awesome thing. I have repeated this. What you take for granted, someone else is praying for. That's such an awesome thing. It says, be grateful. Find things to be grateful for. Gratitude is such an important element to faith. To most religions, if not all, gratitude is a thing. Giving thanks is a thing. And what a great mental exercise that is, to give thanks, to go through in your head and find things that you're supposed to be grateful for, that you should be grateful for. What a great mental exercise. I don't know. So, Linda, you can contact me by email, and I'll be putting up a graphic in a moment that has our email. That comment, God knows the day we are born and the day he brings us home. Kimberly says, I'm glad to be living. Heather says, I'm number 11. 11-2 fan. Oh my godness. Oh my godness. I can read. I really can. I'm not sure I understand what you're saying there, Heather. I'm number 11-2 fan. Oh my goodness. That's awesome. Amen, Mike. trials are a test of your faith and trust to God. Yeah, I kind of needed to hear that too. I am great. I have got stuff going on. But it is about time to wrap it up. Okay. An hour and 16 minutes. So I want to tell you guys, I am so grateful for you being a part of this live event and participating and always cool to see the new faces. Certainly thank you, Mike, for being a part of this and for sharing your story. And everybody, please be sure to share the stories in whatever capacity you can. Attention to any story brings attention to other stories and increases awareness, I think. Thank you, Kimberly. So as we wrap it up, top fan. I understand, Heather. I get it now. Sorry. I just couldn't quite decode that. But thank you very much for being here, Heather. And Fentanyl Awareness of Alabama, thank you. Good night, sweet dreams. Good night, Heather. So we are going to wrap it up, and I'm going to bring up these fancy closing credits here. And I want to remind everyone that we're here for you guys. You can reach out to us anytime. Welcome to, you're encouraged to. Facebook is a great place. Our Facebook group is where everyone kind of comes together. It's like a virtual version of that waiting room at a storytelling summit where people are hanging out. So if you'd like to be part, Carla, we're wrapping it up here, Carla. So anyway, if you'd like to be part of the private Facebook group, it takes a direct invite because it is private. So you can't find it by searching. You have to get an invite from me or from someone else who is a member. Yes, Carla, we do have coffee mugs for sale. We already talked about the coffee mugs, actually. I'm sorry you missed it, but it's like this. It's got the logo on one side, and on the other side, it says Stories That Matter. And that's way cool. I think it's awesome. And we have other stuff. We actually have a fentanyl awareness coffee mug on our store as well. Anyway, thank you all very much for being a part of this. So we're going to wrap it up now. And I want to remind everyone, here's our email address, info@texas-pictures.com. You can find me on Facebook under my name, Glenn Muse. There is also a Facebook page for Texas Pictures. We're on TikTok, and we also have a website, texas-pictures.com. On our website, you can find information about how to share a story, merchandise, and more about the company. So thank you again very much for being a part of this, and we will see you guys next time. Good night, folks.